8:45, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. The new electricity reforms bill to be gazetted in 2 weeks. Special Commodity Levy Act to be suspended from January 2025. Trains along the coastal line face delays until 31st of March. Evening thunder showers expected in several provinces, including the western. Jagamu Sri Lanka arrives in Vavuniya. March headline inflation drops substantially to 0.9%. Rise in hand, foot and mouth disease among children. In news overseas, Ukraine's top diplomat visits India. And in sports news, Sri Lanka women in grand win over Australia. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the local news. Jagamu Sri Lanka People's Mobile Service has been arranged to be held today and tomorrow in Vavuniya at the Gamini Mahavidyalaya Stadium. In this mobile service, local residents will be able to get all services operated under the Ministry of Labour and Foreign Employment. In addition, the people of Vavuniya area will have the opportunity to get a lot of important information about the Israeli job opportunities obtained through the intervention of the minister. A music concert will be held this evening in which many popular singers will participate. The Jagamu Sri Lanka program, which was conceived by the Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manusha Nanayakara, was started in Anuradhapura and then successfully held in Vellavaya, Kagalla, Kandy, Kurunagala, Polonnaruwa and Matale. This is to be held as a national program covering the entire nation. The new bill on electricity sector reform, which will be gazetted in next 2 weeks, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara said. Subsequently, the new bill will be presented to the Parliament during the last week of April, according to the Minister. Taking to X to announce this, Minister Wijesekara stated that after reviewing, the certification to proceed with the new draft bill was issued by the Attorney General last Monday. Thus, the Energy Minister highlighted that the stakeholders or any interested individuals will have at least 2 weeks to review the gazetted bill and 2 more weeks from the day of the presentation to the Parliament to challenge the bill's legality. The suggestions and issues raised by the development agencies and stakeholders have been incorporated as amendments to the draft bill that was gazetted in December by the Legal Draftsman's Department, and the inconsistencies in the Sinhala and Tamil translations were also fixed, Minister Wijesekara added. The progress of the electricity sector reforms was reviewed by Minister Wijesekara at the Ministry of Power and Energy with the officials of the Reform Secretariat on Thursday, the 28th. The Cabinet of Ministers has accepted the proposal to suspend the Special Commodity Levy Act from 1st January 2025, says Finance State Minister Ranjith Siamlapitiya. Speaking to the media in Ranvalla on this morning, the lawmaker said the government intends to introduce a new legislation aimed at safeguarding both the consumers and the local manufacturers. At its meeting held on Monday the 25th, the Cabinet of Ministers gave the nod to instruct the legal draftsman to prepare a draft bill to suspend the Special Commodity Act Number 48 of 2007, as the government has identified the need to suspend the legislation due to various challenges encountered during its implementation. Under the Special Commodity Levy Act, the tax is imposed on a total of 64 commodities categorized under 200 HS codes to facilitate the importation of these goods. This is news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. The railway operations along the coastal line are experiencing delays today, tomorrow and also on Sunday the 31st, the Department of Railways said. The department attributed the delays to the railway operations being limited to a single track between Vallavatta and Colombo Fort railway stations due to a pipeline maintenance activity carried out by the Urban Development Authority. However, the train operations on the coastal line will be restored after Sunday night, that's the 31st, according to the Department of Railways. Lady Ridgeway Consultant pediatrician Dr. Deepal Pereira said today that there is an increase in the spread of hand, foot and mouth disease HFMD among school children these days. He said that this disease spreads every year, especially between March and April. If children have symptoms like small, oval, red or white blisters on their palms and soles of their feet, as well as in the mouth, and if there is a red skin rash with a brown scale on it, or if the rash appears on the outer arms, then the parents should keep in mind not to send their children to schools, daycare centers or public places. HFMD is most commonly caused by Coxsackie virus. The main way HFMD spreads is through the contact with the fluid from inside the blisters or with the droplets spread from sneezing and coughing. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. New electricity reforms bill will be gazetted in 2 weeks. Special Commodity Levy Act to be suspended from January 2025. Trains along the coastal line facing delays until the 31st of March. Evening thunder showers expected in several provinces, including the western. Jagamu Sri Lanka arrives in Vavuniya. March headline inflation drops substantially to 0.9%. Rise in hand, foot and mouth disease among children. And that is the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The main news story for tonight, headline inflation as measured by the Colombo Consumer Price Index CPI dropped to 0.9% in March 2024 from 5.9% in February. Data from the Department of Census and Statistics showed. The CPI for all items for March 2024 was 196.7, which was a decrease of 3.9 index points compared to February 2024, for which the index was 200.6. The expenditure value decreased by 3,576 rupees in the market basket. The year-on-year inflation of food group increased to 3.8% in March 2024 from 3.5% in February 2024, and the year-on-year inflation on non-food group decreased to 0.5% in March 2024 from 7.0% in February 2024. The contribution of inflation by food commodities was 1.19%, while the contribution of non-food items was minus 0.32%. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Watch Live is brought to you by
CIB New Year offer. Valuable gifts and gift vouchers. 25% discount for bank cards till 10th of April. Visit CIB today. CIB revives once always.
And in Watchlight tonight, Sri Lanka Computer Emergency Readiness Team requests the public not to click on links shared on social media platforms claiming to receive presents given by popular brand names and their trademarks. SLCRT Senior Information Security Engineer Charuka Damanupula said that those links may be received via SMS, WhatsApp, X, as well as Twitter, and Facebook, now known as Meta, as well as call received on the mobile phone. Mr. Damanupula requested the public to first confirm the authenticity of the request before responding to them. These kinds of links can be received through your friends, groups, he said. And that came to you in Watchlight.
CIB New Year offer. Valuable gifts and gift vouchers. 25% discount for bank cards till 10th of April. Visit CIB today. CIB revives once always.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines of the world news. Ukraine's top diplomat visits India. India's opposition leader's custody extended. Japan ground self-defense force to resume UH-60 helicopter training after the crash. Those were the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the world news. Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba has visited India for the first time since Russia's invasion. He hopes to make progress decoupling India from Russia at a time when Moscow is stepping up its offensive in Ukraine. Kuleba began his two-day visit on Thursday when he paid tribute at a memorial to Mahatma Gandhi. On Friday, Kuleba met with his Indian counterpart Subramaniam Jaishankar. Ahead of the meeting, Kuleba said on social media that they will discuss a plan to end the conflict by building on dialogue their country's leaders have held. A court in New Delhi has extended the custody of a key opposition leader until Monday in an alleged corruption case. Opposition parties accuse Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government of engineering the arrest ahead of general elections starting next month, and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal was detained last week. Authorities allege his Aam Aadmi Party or AAP got kickbacks from liquor businesses in the capital and gave them favourable treatment. Kejriwal is a fierce critic of Modi. NHK has learned that Japan's ground self-defense force plans to fully resume flight training of its UH-60 helicopter starting from Monday following a crash last year. The GSDF suspended training on board the multipurpose UH-60 helicopter except within the camps or surrounding areas after one of them crashed off Miyakojima Island on Okinawa Prefecture, southern Japan last April. All 10 personnel on board were killed. And that was the world news.
Development news.
Queensland State in Australia has a formidable mineral and resources, and if Sri Lankan companies have products and services that go into mining, there are emerging opportunities for them, said former Director of Migration Queensland State, Greg McLean. Queensland mainly focuses on gold and iron, and that has big income earner for the state. Many large players from all around the world, including Brazil, South Africa, Japan, Korea and other Australian companies, have big investments there. Hence, it is a major industry and there are great opportunities for Sri Lankan companies to come and invest in this area, he stated. And that was the development news.
Moving on with sports news.
Sri Lanka women's team showed fighting spirit as they recorded a thrilling 7-run victory over Australia in their Under-19 Tri-Nation T20 cricket series fixture played at Mahinda Rajapaksa International Stadium yesterday. The opening fixture of this tournament, Sri Lanka led by Manudi Nanayakara, gave a superb performance to beat Aussie Lasses in a close fight. In fact, Sri Lanka and Australia both teams made low scores yesterday, while the Sri Lanka team limited to 117 for the loss of 6 wickets in their 20 overs, but the Sri Lankan Lasses very well defended that score and the Aussie team had to be satisfied with 110 for the loss of 5 wickets in 20 overs. And Sri Lanka team coached by Mahesh Veerasinghe had a morale booster with this opening game victory. That was the sports news. Business news coming up.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Expo Holdings PLC's delisting proposals received approval at the extraordinary general meeting held on March 27th. The parent company SG Holdings spearheaded the initiative to delist Expo Lanka Holdings PLC from Colombo Stock Exchange, offering an exit price of ₹185 per share. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And in economic news, Sri Lanka should urgently focus on increasing female participation in the tourism field, or the country will lose its competitive edge to attract global high-end travellers, said the director of Dilma Ceylon Tea Company PLC, Malik Fernando. He made this statement at the Sri Lanka Tourism Alliance, together with Australia's Market Development Facility, hosted the Women in Tourism Advocate, Engage and Achieve event at Colombo Hilton recently. That is economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Weather report.
And finally, the weather report. The Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the western, southern, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces after 2 p.m. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the Uva and northwestern provinces after 2 p.m. as well. Few showers may occur in the eastern province. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the central, Sabaragamuwa, Uva and western provinces and in the Gaul and Mathura districts during the morning hours. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. And before we conclude this bulletin, let's get back to the headlines once again. New electricity reforms bill to be gazetted in 2 weeks. The Special Commodity Levy Act to be suspended from January 2025. Trains along the coastal line facing delays until 31st of March. Evening thunder showers expected in several provinces, including the western. Jagamu Sri Lanka arrives in Vavuniya. March headline inflation drops substantially to 0.9%. Rise in hand, foot and mouth disease among children. In news overseas, Ukraine's top diplomat visits India. And in sports news, Sri Lankan women in grand win over Australia. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news. Now it's back to your regular Friday evening host, my good friend Southie, today with a mixed bag of music.